great developer, brainy Ewan, had been invited down to Leith Academy Senior Secondary School to discuss transferring to a course more suited to his mammy's vaulting ambitions, that our lovesick Angela— "And what does his mammy want?" Robin shrugged. "Oh, Molly, you ken fine she wants him to be a lawyer." "Right enough. The snobby bitch does. And I see what you mean, that our too-smart-by-half pal Angela will be down there too. Aye, she will not be asking, but begging them to allow her to change her mind and stay on at school there until she's 18. All the banter between Molly and Robin diverted Freda's attention from her money worries. Back she was to remembering what seemed to be such a long time ago, when they were all just 11 years old. It was the year that they had to sit the 11+ qualifying examinations. The papers had just been collected in when confident Angela, the brightest of the fabulous four, as the girls wished to be known, announced that even though the papers were still to be marked, she knew she had passed well above average. On the day they were to be told their results and which school they would be transferring to, this would be either a senior secondary school, which was the equivalent of the English grammar school, or to a junior secondary school. The children were all lined up in the playground after the mid-morning break. It was then that the headmaster, Mr. Sanders, appeared on the school steps, accompanied by the class teacher, Miss MacLeod. Mr. Sanders pulled on the lapels of his academic gown before he graciously invited Angela and 4 others to follow him back into the school. However, before he was out of earshot, Miss MacLeod said, "Headmaster, what shall I have the other children do in the meantime?" Halting to look back disdainfully over the playground, Mr. Sanders curtly announced, "Just have them pick up all the litter until I'm ready to speak to them." Before Angela left to follow Mr. Sanders back into the school, she turned to Robin and his friend Ewan Gibson, who were both to remain behind. The boys hunched their shoulders and shook their heads before Ewan snapped, "Well, folks, we now ken that us dunderheads are all for Norton Park Junior Secondary School, and our dear headmaster has just tell us that all we'll ever be good enough for in life is picking up rubbish." "Aye, I agree that's what he thinks," huffed Robin. "But know something? We can all make our minds up here and now that the stupid, bald-headed old pig will eat his words when we prove him more than wrong." Not surprisingly, it turned out that Angela was offered a place at Leith Academy Senior Secondary School. It was also true that she was thrilled at her success. However, as she had developed a crush on Ewan, she thought that it was in her best interests to transfer to the same school that he would be attending. This meant that Angela, who was being reared solely by her father since her mother had died, had to persuade her dad that she just really wished to go to Norton Park Junior Secondary School. It came as a surprise to him when Angela went on to explain that she wished to be a secretary when she left school, so the superior commercial course being offered at Norton Park would suit her needs better than the academic course at Leith Academy. Of course, Mr. MacDonald meekly agreed, but then he would, because Angela, like her mother before her, ruled the roost. Poor Mr. MacDonald was quite incapable of standing his ground where the women in his life were concerned. By the time the group reached 14, they'd all worked very hard at school and were succeeding in the paths they wished to follow. Naturally, Angela excelled in everything she studied, but she remained convinced she had done the right thing in following the commercial course at Norton Park. This was all true, until Ewan, as he matured, started showing signs of being as intelligent, or more so, than Angela. Indeed, to everybody's amazement, he advanced so quickly that by the last month of term, only 4 short weeks before he was due to leave school and possibly take up a trade, the headmaster had summoned him to his office. Mr. McLean's commanding voice, asking Ewan to come into his private province.